and I am sharing with you a live presentation on the TKC. It stands for Thy Kingdom Come Freedom Education Network that we've been building for the last, it seems like forever, but it's been about 7 or 8 months. And what we do is seek truth every day as hidden treasure. And you can join and watch live every day. You need to download WebEx. Our little brochure here tells you exactly what to do. Download WebEx. And you're also going to download WebEx meetings. And you can do that on your computer or on your cell phone. It's absolutely free. Okay. And our mission is to create an educational educational community empowered by the network of free men and women through the transformational power of Yah's love, the truth, knowledge, and love. We have how to subscribe here in the middle of our brochure, and then all our teachings and courses. Monday's teaching, of course, is live right now, 9 a.m. with Andy. He's helped put together the Michigan's Jural Assembly in the state of Michigan. Tuesday, we have truth about money, gold and silver, and how to avoid CBDCs, mark of the beast, all that good stuff. Wednesday is Michael with the etymology of God's word that helps you understand the legalese and how we've all been deceived. Thursday's teaching is on setting up your private ministries, 508c1a, or PMAs, anything in the private. And Friday is Secrets of Health. And I believe this week we have Dan Doyle he's one of the people who is cured. Well, we can't say cured, but he's been healed, redeemed, and set free of cancer for the last 7 years. And he's going to tell you how he did it. All righty. Well, they're getting ready to start, so I'm going to turn the volume up.
Okay. So I'm getting attacked, folks. I have books. I may have a portable hard drive. I may have a bug on my computer. There may be something that's causing a problem with this computer, so I'm doing the best I can. So please bear with us, because powers that be do not want freedom to go forward. Okay. All right, Andrew, we'll go through it as best we can. We'll give it a few more minutes, but you go ahead and look and see what I've got. What is this that you have up right now? This is that first page. It is the whole document of let's see, St. Joseph County. This is it's the FOIA request for public records. So I have it full screen here, and the next slide is a close-up, and it's what we can write. Well, I don't want anybody to know that address at all. I don't want anybody to see that county. I don't want anybody to see that street. I don't want anybody to see any of that. What's highlighted, get rid of it permanently. There, that's good. Okay, there we go. Yep. FOIA request, that's right. Do you want me to get rid of Michigan? Nope, that's fine. Okay. All right, so then that's probably what we'll start with today, Antoinette, is Michigan Affidavit of Identity form for public officials. This one? Yep. Okay. We'll make that full screen. Okay, there's those. And I want that right there. I want that right there. I don't want that. I want page 1. Okay. Right there. Well, I got to go through the rest. Do you mind? And I'm going to show you what else I got. Put it in the right order. Go ahead. And then we got the FOIA.
right, we're not good. We're good. Thing from Michigan.
Broke up.
We're going to start with the vote form for Michigan.
I've got this for some reason, and then I have this.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is what I.
We can start there. We can start with that.
And then I've got.
And that's what I want to go to, number 2.
Bag.
That'll be the bag. That'll be number 3.
Okay. All right. So, are you going to talk about, the reason for these documents? And
yeah, you can prompt me.
Okay.
Let's look at number 11.
All right. You wanted me to start with that?
Yeah, we can just start there. Then we'll go to number 1.
So that'll help explain why we're doing this. Okay. All right, I'm ready anytime you are, Mary.
Okay, let's get started. And so, this is Andrew, and I entered the Freedom Train about 13 years ago when I was taken advantage of by somebody, and I ran into a fella that had been on the Freedom Train for 50 years, probably at least. And he taught and trained me. He was dead 2 years later, and I had access to his records, and I am a student, and so I read and I study and I apply myself because I want to be able to be free. So what does being free mean? Under the Creator who created us in his image and his likeness, we bring honor and glory to him and we do his will. So Proverbs 2 speaks of seeking true as hidden treasure. Romans 12, 1 and 2 talks about offering our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is our spiritual act of worship. It says to do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, so that we can test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. It says in the scriptures that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It says God hates when we follow after the traditions of men. So we are called to a higher calling. You look at the Old Testament, the people in the Old Testament, what were they? They were sojourners. They were pilgrims. They were travelers. This world was not their home. They were just passing through. So why would anybody want to have a residence here? Why would anybody want to be a non-resident? Why would anybody want to be a citizen of a nation? If you enter that arena, you subject yourself into voluntary servitude via your ignorance. So Hosea 4:6 says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So what we have essentially in America, where it was founded, the Magna Carta from 1215 has Statute 61, which talks about the grand jury and the petite grand jury. So then you come to America and you have the Declaration of Independence, the 4 organic documents, the Articles of Confederation, the Northwest Ordinance, the Constitution for the United States of America with the Bill of Articles. So those are our 4 organic founding documents. Then in 1861, when the South walked out, signed die, we have been in de facto government land ever since. So basically we have a fraudulent government because the de jure rightful government doesn't have the offices seated. So ever since 1861, we've had de facto government with martial rule and martial law. So then you see this document here, corporate charter. Why would I have corporate charter up here? We're talking about the corporate charter because we had municipal corporate government start basically at that point. So by February 21st, 1871, there was a constitution for the City of Washington, District of Columbia, the second constitution, the Constitution of the United States, which is a municipal corporation. Under Title 28, United States Code, subsection 3002, you find that the United States is a corporation. It has a Dun and Bradstreet number. It's all about money. So when you come into your town, and you come in and it says Anywhereville, 1865, you go find your corporate charter for your city or your village. And when you have that corporate charter, that'll be the governing document for what you're dealing with. So the system, this should say Title 1 USC subsection 1 through 8. And these are the words that the system uses to gain jurisdiction over people. People become these things because they're ignorant. They don't know any better. A man or a woman or one of the people does not fall into any of these categories. Person, individual, human being, human resource, resident, non-resident, citizen, that should be a lowercase c. Taxpayer, vessel, we'll put U.S. citizen on that. Domestic, when you learn the definition of domestic, domestic in regards to the corporation means within the United States. So you have the United States Postal Service, 1971, and it's the domestic mail manual. Under 602 addresses, you scroll down and you find foreign address. And when you look that up and you find foreign address, you find that there's single rate mail from sovereign to sovereign. You could mail that for a 2 or 3 cent stamp. You're without the United States, you're non-domestic. It's MICHIGAN to CALIFORNIA, upper and lowercase letters. Sovereign to sovereign without a zip code. So that's proof of this game. Let's go to the next slide, Antoinette. So this is something that was done in Congress with Ronald Reagan in, 82, 83, 84, the House and Senate and Reagan. And this is Public Law 97-280, October 4th, 1982, 97th Congress Joint Resolution, 96 Statute 1211, Senate Joint Resolution 1. Of the president to proclaim 1983 as the year of the Bible. Whereas the Bible, the word of the Creator, has made a unique contribution in shaping the United States. It should say the United States of America, but they don't mention the United States of America because it's all attorneys. I think 70% of the House and Senate are run by attorneys, British Accreditation Registry agents, under the Vatican, affiliated with the bankers, total corruption. We're under United States Constitution since 1871, if we're ignorant. So they mentioned United States. in shaping the United States as a distinctive and blessed nation and people. Whereas deeply held religious convictions springing from the Holy Scriptures led to the early settlement of our nation, the 1620 Mayflower Agreement says that the purpose of the people coming to America is to advance the gospel of Christ. Whereas biblical teachings inspired concepts of civil government that are contained in our Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, again, they're trying to rewrite history based on this fraudulent United States DC corporation that's been in place since the South walked out. It should say the Constitution for the United States of America. Two different things. Constitution of the United States, February 21st, 1871. Read it. Read Section 1. That'll become abundantly clear where it says the Constitution for the laws of the United States. So that's what that's referring to. That is not referring to the organic 1787, ratified 1789, Bill of Articles, ratified 1791 Constitution for the United States of America. Two different things. Can you scroll down there, please? I think maybe we need to go up a little bit. I think we missed some stuff.
Nope, it's all there.
Okay, thank you. I apologize, my fault. Whereas many of our great national leaders, among them Presidents Washington, Jackson, Lincoln, and Wilson, they always want to get Lincoln in there. He was Abraham Springsteen. You heard me. His wife was a Rothschild. Wilson was a communist. Wilson was around when December 23rd, 1913, the Federal Reserve came into play. He also received a letter from Edward Mandelhouse talking 20 years prior to the 1933 War Powers Act and House Joint Resolution 192, where America was bankrupted. They knew that they were going to take ownership and control of all the people and convert the people into serfs via their ignorance. So Wilson was one big, huge problem. Paid tribute to the surpassing influence of the Bible in our country's development, as in the words of President Jackson, Andrew Jackson, that the Bible is the rock on which our republic rests. That is true. Montesquieu came to America and he traveled the breadth, the width, the whole nation looking for what made America great. He said it was found in America's churches and America's pulpits with America's ministers that preached the Word of God. You'll find that in Democracy in America by, I think I said Montesquieu, that's wrong. Alexis de Tocqueville.
Okay, good.
Whereas the history of our nation clearly illustrates the value of voluntarily applying the teachings of the scriptures in the lives of individuals, families, and societies. Whereas this nation now faces great challenges that will test this nation as it has never been tested before. And whereas that renewing our knowledge of and faith in the Creator through Holy Scripture can strengthen us as a nation and a people, now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled. See, folks, they know all about the United States of America. They use it when they want to. And when they don't use it, no, they're not using it for a reason. That the President is authorized and requested to designate 1983 as a National Year of the Bible in recognition of both the formative influence the Bible has been for our nation and our national need to study and apply the teachings of the Holy Scriptures, approved October 4th, 1992. Folks, I highly recommend you get a copy of the 1599 Geneva Bible Patriots Edition, and pay close attention to the commentaries at the bottom. Those commentaries were put forth by people that became martyrs, that were seeking the Creator's Word. And I highly recommend you read that along with the William Tyndale Bible. When you look at the New Testament and you see Matthew 16, 15 to 18, where it says, upon this rock I will build my church, that's an incorrect mistranslation on purpose. It's upon this rock I will build my ecclesia, which is assembly, gathering, congregation, company. And when you overlay the William Tyndale Bible with the 1599 Geneva Bible Patriots Edition, you will find that you don't see church, because church is top down. That's why King James wanted it. You'll see assembly, gathering, congregation, or company. Mostly congregation, company's the least often used. And there's a passage in Acts 19, chapter 19, that talks about lawful assemblies in the scripture, and it makes that very clear. So does anybody have any questions or comments at this time?
Mary, can you please stop recording? And we'll start again. Okay, stop. Thank you.
Andrew, I have a question. This is Kalina, but maybe I can wait till the end.
Greetings, Kalina.
Hi, I did look up our township, or I attempted to, and I called our county council person to look for the establishment and see if there was any charter. And basically, I was told nothing exists. Waimea was never established as a township. They just see it as the largest landowner here is Parker Ranch. So if that's the case, then do I go to the...
She lied. That's a lie.
Okay, she said they have no documentation. There's no documentation anywhere of us ever being a township. And there is...
Well, you're something. You're a city, you're a village, you're a township, you're something. She lied to you. You're either unincorporated, or you're a city, you're a village, you're a township, you're a municipal something, and you may have to do a FOIA with the Secretary of State's office for that.
Okay, so I do still need to dig. I wouldn't just go to our County of Hawaii charter, correct?
I doubt you'll find a county for a charter.
Okay.
These public officials they either are told to play stupid or they're ignorant.
Okay.
It's one of the two.
Okay, I'm going to keep digging.
Keep digging, Kalina.
Thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions, thoughts, comments?
So that's just a good basis for, what we're going to be doing next.
Yes.
It's a good
We're
point
going to be learning about, pardon?
It's a good point of reference.
Yes, we're going to be going to filling out a FOIA request that's coming. So if there's no more comments or questions at this time, we can go to the next slide, Antoinette.
I'm starting recording.
So, folks, there was just a Supreme Court ruling. Let me see if I can change this to a full screen view. It said non-citizens can vote. And I need to look that Supreme Court ruling up and see what it refers to. I think what it's referring to is United States of America nationals can vote. So here's what's at the vote table when you vote in Michigan. And I want to show you what I do to this. And I'm going to have Antoinette we're going to modify this document, and I'm going to show you how I handle this when I vote. Because when I go vote, I vote with a private identification with my picture on it that I created. And I go in and I start marking these documents all up. And that's what you have to do. Because if you don't do that, the system is going to assume and presume you're a resident, you're a U.S. citizen, you're a person, you're an individual, you're a taxpayer, and they're going to take advantage of you. So it says, application to vote poll list. I strike a line right through the middle, application 2. And I use blue ink. Because blue ink is a outflow of a live man or woman.
And where do you want me to put the blue line?
Application 2, right through the center. Top left. Says application to vote.
Oh. I wish I could do this quicker. Just put a line right through that?
Just application 2. Right through the center.
Okay.
Yep. Picture identification requirement. All Michigan voters must show a Michigan driver's license. Well, that's not true. I don't have a Michigan driver's license. I don't have a Michigan anything. I have a private identification that I created, or some other acceptable form of picture identification. Well, in Michigan, that's whatever you want, picture identification. A voter who was unable to show picture identification can vote after signing an affidavit. Well, folks, I've authorized, endorsed so many affidavits, they don't want me doing that anymore because that's proof of their game and proof that I know, and they don't want their people to see that. Attesting that he or she is not in possession of picture identification. So you can even walk in without a private identification with a picture and vote. So here we go, right at the beginning. I certify that I am a United States citizen. So what we're going to want to do on that line is we're going to want to strike through United States citizen, Antoinette, right through the center of United States citizen.
Okay.
Perfect. And then I write above it, I write United States of America, national, all lowercase, but the A is uppercase.
United States of America National.
Yep, all lowercase, but the A. And put that right above United States citizen.
Okay.
And an elector in this precinct. So you can cross everything out other than elector. Start with and a registered and qualified. One line right through the center.
Okay, right there.
Yep, but we're going to leave elector.
Okay. I'm taking out and qualified.
Mm-hmm. And you're taking out and a registered.
Okay. Alrighty.
And vote. So take hereby make application to and cross it out.
Gosh. Alrighty. Okay.
Hereby make application and hereby make application. Cross out the 2 as well. Yep, there you go. Yep. And hereby vote at this election. So you can do all these things. You can do this, and I'll tell you why you can do this. When you read the 4 organic documents, it talks about no involuntary servitude. Then you have the 13th Amendment, which was never ratified in 1865, and it says no involuntary servitude. So the opposite of involuntary servitude is voluntary servitude. So if you choose to be ignorant, folks, you could be in voluntary servitude, and the system will accept that. You've heard the phrase, ignorance of the law is no excuse. If you choose to be ignorant, the system's happy to have you be ignorant. So here it says sign here. I draw a line right through the center of sign here. Right through sign. Just sign.
That's it?
Yes, and if you can make that just so it's through sign.
Okay, I'm going to leave the word here.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that X, I cross that X out from about 2 o'clock on the clock to about 8 o'clock on the clock. I draw a diagonal line through it.
Okay.
So then you have signature of voter. Draw a line right through the center of signature. Down below. Right there. A line right through the center of signature. Yep. So then where it says add a heading there, you kind of got to use small letters. A sovereign autographs. When you stand in line to go get Elvis's endorsement, you don't want me signing Elvis Presley. You don't want Tom Hanks signing Elvis Presley. You want Elvis Presley's autograph. So an autograph, only the sovereign can autograph their appellation. So what I do is, right next to that X, tight, all lowercase letters, autograph by colon. Yep, and the A is lowercase. And then I do Joe hyphen Schmo colon of the House of Blow. All lowercase letters. And then I put above all of that, in all lowercase letters, all rights reserved. So folks, that's referred to as a restricted endorsement. That means you're not going to allow them to play you with an adhesion contract, with a one-sided contract, that they know what the rules are, but they don't disclose them to you, and you get fleeced and you don't know how or why. That's called a restricted endorsement.
Okay, now there was something else I was supposed to put on here. What was that?
Above all that, from autograph all the way over to blow, all the way over the top, I spread out all rights reserved. Stretch it out over that whole thing there. Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Just like that. And then move it a little bit further to the right, and you'll be over blow too. There you go. Move it a little to the left. So you're over autograph too. There you go. See, now the whole thing's covered. So then on print name, you got to put a line right through the middle of name, because you don't have a name. Only a fiction has a name and an address. You don't have a name and you don't have an address. You have an appellation and a mail stop. If you want to know more about what I'm telling you about and get educated on this, spend 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours on usavs.us.info. www.usavs.us.info. So basically all that stuff that she wrote right there on that top line, that's going to go right there under print name, and except it's going to be in printed. So for where it says name, I write above name appellation. APPELLATION. Right above name.
How do you spell it?
Well, hang on a second, Antoinette. What I'm saying is where name's crossed out, above it I print appellation.
Got it.
APPELL. Right there. Yep. Yep. So date of birth. Well, you can't be birthed or born. How come we never talk about Christ's birthday? Because he never had a birthday. He came into the world in the private. He wasn't born and he wasn't birthed. Because those are commercial terms. Christ had a day of nativity. He came into the world on the private side in a stable. When he entered the public world, he entered the world in the when he came in the public side, he was on the private side. Where did he sleep? On the ground. What was his pillow or rock? Christ lived in the private. He had a day of nativity. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about with these words about birth, about born, there's a fantastic video called The Occult World of Commerce. The Occult World of Commerce, OCCULT World of Commerce, with Jordan Maxwell and Jason Whitney. The Occult World of Commerce with Jordan Maxwell and Jason Whitney. It's an hour and 15 minutes long. In the beginning, Jordan Maxwell spends about 10 or 15 minutes and talks about words and the meaning of words. I highly recommend that. 2/3 of the way through that free YouTube video, you'll hear Jason Whitney talking about judges use something, a 508. I'm not sure about taxes. They use something, a 508, and they handle money and funds without any reporting. You'll catch that too in there. So Day of the Nativity. So you can put, I generally put the month and the day and the year, and some of the quote unquote Jewish people. So like, let's say you came into the world in 1962, January 6th. Some of those people, they're smart and they know about jurisdiction. So before they start doing public documents, if they have their own private identification and they record when they came into the world in the Bible, they may say March 20th, the year before. In other words, they start their life at the moment of conception. So the system's guessing. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So rather than the second you come out of your mother's womb as the beginning of life, you can choose to start your life the day you were conceived in your mother's womb. That's a choice. Because everything is with our consent or without our consent. So you can go 9 or 10 months earlier. That's a choice, but you've got to do that in the beginning. You have to do that before you enter into the world with work, with travel, with voting. You have to do that from the beginning. You can't just do that later. So residence address, well, that's total entrapment. If you're a resident, you're a slave and a subject. If you have an address, you're a fiction. A resident's a U.S. citizen. So you really don't want to be a resident. You really don't want to have an address. So what I do is I cross that out, one line through the whole thing, residence and address. And I put something like land location to vote above residence address. So for instance, there's some land in the place that I'm affiliated for where I vote, and there's a land description. And let's give this as an example, Antoinette. The Northwest Quarter, NW Quarter of the Southeast Quarter, SE Quarter.
Quarter or corner?
Quarter, 1 over 4.
Oh,
A fraction, 1 over 4.
this one too?
Like that. Right. The northwest quarter or the southeast quarter. Right, get rid of corner, right.
Okay.
Of township, 3 south,
Township what?
3 is in the alphanumeric 3, S. Range,
Grange?
R-A, no, get rid of the first G. Range. 9 west, 9W. So something like that. Now, if you live in town, you'll want to do a care of, and you'll want to leave. You'll want to do. You'll write the state out. You won't do a capital M, capital I, capital C, capital A, capital I, capital. You won't do that. You'll write the state out, the village or the state or the township in the state, and you won't use the zip code, or you'll put zip code exempt.
All right.
Yep. So that's how you do that, folks. There's things you have to do. We're not going to post this anywhere. This thing that we're doing and modifying, we're not going to post that. If you're not here and you're not watching this, you're not going to get it. So we're not going to post this thing. It's for those that are here, they get to see it. For those that aren't here, they don't get to see it. So here's an example, folks, of the monkey business that you have to go through to do what you want to do. Why do I vote? It's all a corporation? Because I'm going to tell you, we're under a duty and an obligation. This is foreign to me. But if you take an active role in your local government, the system can and will hear you, especially if you get witness. If you get other people that are involved, I encourage you to get involved in your assembly, following after the Michigan General Jural Assembly model, and find like-minded people. And as you build and grow your assembly, in the beginning of every constitution, it says political power, subsection 1, all political power is inherent in the people. You can only be one of the people when you haven't subjected yourself to the system. You have to get out of ignorance, enter the light, not be a person or an individual or a human being or a human resource or a U.S. citizen or a resident or a non-resident or a taxpayer, or you're a subject and a slave. And the system doesn't have to listen to you at all about anything. So, and a registered elector. So where it says in qualified elector there, Antoinette, you're going to cross out from the center and qualified.
Right there.
Nope.
Okay.
Up and right. Go up and to the right. Down a little bit. Right there. And qualified is going to be crossed out. we're going to want to see elector. So there it is, folks. This is the stuff you got to go through. So when you go to the bank, you've got to fill those forms out correctly. Whenever you get a form, you got to know how to fill it out. When somebody walks up to you and says, "What's your name and address?" I'll guarantee you they're trying to figure out if you're a fiction that they can communicate with, and you're on par with them in their jurisdiction. The Bible in Romans 13 says the magistrate is a minister of God for your wealth. You haven't heard that before? Get a copy of the 1599 Geneva Bible Patriots Edition, free PDF online. Go to Romans 13. And it'll talk about a magistrate being a minister of God for thy wealth. They work for you. You're not on par with them. You rule over them, and they are bound and chained by the documents that they take an oath to, subscribe to, and have a bond with. If they step out of their capacity as a public official and act in their private capacity when they're supposed to be acting as a public official, you can go after their bond and you can get paid. You find out who the bonding company is, you call them up, you tell them what happened, you say, "Send me the check." You can also go after them with a tort claim if they cause you harm, and you can take their private property for whatever the damages are. They can't be egregious. It has to be commensurate with whatever damage they caused. So the public officials are bound and chained by the original organic documents and the corporate charters that they took an oath and subscribed to and are bonded with. So when it says obey the authorities, all the churches want to talk about obeying the authorities. Who are the authorities? Well, there's one, the creator of the universe. In the United States of America, the people are in charge. The people are at the top, under the creator. We're to love our creator with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and we're to love our neighbor as ourselves. But the public official, he is our trustee. He works for us. We're the beneficiary. He works for us. He's bound and chained with the 4 organic documents and the municipal corporate charters that he's taken an oath and subscribed to and a bond with. Does that make sense? I yield. Any questions?
Go ahead and stop.
Comments?
This is Kalina. I have a question. So,
Go ahead, Kalina.
yeah, when you said obey the authority, does that really reference back to the 1599 Geneva Bible?
Obey the authorities. The preachers never tell you who the authority is. The authority is the people in America. The ultimate authority is the creator. So all the people that are magistrates are to be obeying the creator under the people's created documents that they're supposed to obey.
Okay, so
people act like these public officials are the authority.
right.
No, they have a duty and a responsibility. They're under delegated authority, and they're bound and chained to do what they're supposed to do under their delegated authority.
So
We have ultimate authority over them as people. But until you become one of the people and rise up and become the civil power, you're a subject and a slave. And they have authority over you because you're ignorant. I'm not getting on people. That's what we're dealing with.
Okay, so I have another question. So a while ago, after the Maui fires, several of us, we put out a letter of intent asking for transparency with the maladministration, malfeasance of our public officials. On that document, we had people put their name and address. So that's wrong information. Just even state.
Absolutely. You're all subjects.
Oh.
And letter of intent, what's that have to do with anything?
Right.
You should have done a declaration.
Well, I mean, the whole thing's being redone, but it was intended as a redress of grievances, although that was, So it doesn't even stand anyways, because I've got the word address on there and name in the first place, right?
Do you see how critical the law of grammar is to seeking truth as hidden treasure, Proverbs 2?
Okay.
People may want to be cheerleaders and rah, 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 we're going to do it, we're going to do it. Okay, if you're going to do it and you don't know the law of grammar, you shot yourself in both feet and cut your legs off.
Got it. Thanks for the education.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm trying to be real. If you do something and you don't realize what you're doing, there's going to be ramifications. I don't want anybody to be in fear. Perfect love, knowledge of the Creator, His love for you casts out fear. 365 times in the scripture it says, be strong and courageous. So we're not to be fearful. We're to be of a sound mind. We're to be the head, not the tail. But we really have to go to the Creator and ask Him for wisdom, knowledge, discernment, insight, and understanding. Give us ears to hear, eyes to see, and a heart to comprehend what He has for us. Because knowing Hosea 4:6, the Creator's people perish for lack of knowledge.
Okay. Go ahead, Brisa.
Thank you. So, being someone that's been in the system out of ignorance and have a social security card, a driver's license, registered to vote, how do I start? What are the first steps to start untangling that web so that I can clarify my status and not be in a corporation or under a jurisdiction?
Of a corporation. That is a fantastic question, Brisa. So the guy you're talking to has a certificate of live birth, has elected to pay taxes, registered to vote, said he was a U.S. citizen, registered for the draft, filled the forms out wrong, driver's license, marriage license. I did everything you did, Brisa.
Mm-hmm.
Social Security card, I did all of it. So there's a few options. You can physically go and cancel all those contracts and rescind those contracts, or do it with paperwork. Cancel all those contracts one by one. Or you can say, today I climbed out of the ignorant zone. And when I go do what I'm going to do, knowing that all those things are entrapment items, I'm going to do it the right way from this day forward. And so everywhere I go, everything I do, I keep all these things in mind. And every time I talk, every time I have a conversation, every time I fill out a government form, I just do it the right way. So what we need to do is, everything you asked about, we need to have an education on that. So for instance, the Social Security number, there's a book that's, I think, 230 pages, and it tells you how you don't need to use your Social Security number. And there's no law that forces you to use your Social Security number. And when you know what's in that book, then you don't need to use it. You can set up a trust. You can do everything through a trust. You can set up a free church. Title 26 United States Code, subsection 508C1A. You can do everything through a church. So there's a thing called agent and agency. When you as a live man or woman sign a form, you become the agent for that fiction, bankrupt, civilly dead entity, incompetent minor estate that the system sets up when mommy births you in the hospital, fills the paperwork out as an informant for the system. The system creates a Social Security number and, has a certificate of live birth. And those are the securities that are traded internationally as a mutual fund where you and other people's birth certificates, via mom's ignorance and your ignorance, are traded as securities to create the money for the government. The full faith and credit of the American people, as the Constitution says. So 100% of federal taxes do not go to pay for the federal government. They go to pay for the people that created the Federal Reserve December 23rd, 1913. 100%. 100%. 100% of your federal taxes don't go to pay for one thing in the federal government. Not one. Zero. Nothing. They go to the people that own the private corporation, the Federal Reserve.
Can you please reference the video that talks about that?
There's a book, The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin.
Right.
What video are you thinking about, Antoinette?
It's a video that guy talks about when there's a double set of books.
Oh, see, there's Walter Burian, CAFR1, CAFR1.com, www.cafr1.com. And there's Jerry Day. He's got a couple of good videos, freedomtaker.com, freedomtaker.com. Jerry Day's got a couple of good 15-minute videos. Interesting you mentioned that. And Brisa, I'm coming back to your question. I'm on a bit of a tangent. The Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, 1984, in modern day history, there's two sets of books. So they couldn't get Al Capone on anything. So they went after his accountant. They got a hold of his accountant, and the accountant kept two sets of books. So they gave Al Capone's accountant a break if he would show them his double book entry accounting system. That's the same thing the government does. There's 2 and 3 sets of books. So that was referred to as the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And then in November of 2021, that name was changed to the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. So when the system shows you a budget, that's a period on a piece of paper. They're not telling you that they have financials that are as big as that whole paper. And when they print that budget, they want the people to think, well, this is all the money that we have to operate. Well, they want the people to think that. They always make the budget too small, so they always run out of money, so that the ignorant people can be taxed more because the system never has enough money. You should be enraged right now. I hope you are.
Yeah, what do they
and
use?
I hope that.
What do they use?
Pardon?
What do they use that money for?
Well, it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. It just keeps, making government more money. 100% of taxes could be eliminated, and we'd never have to pay another penny of taxes again. And we'd have perfect highways, perfect roads. We'd have all the funds we need for anything. That's how much money the system has in the second and third set of books in their financial investments.
I've heard of people asking to see those books.
I asked to see those books. I've been asking for the County Road Commission's books for a year, and I still don't have them. They show you a 30-some page budget. That's not it. That's a budget. Folks, the system, the people that work for the system, they're ignorant or liars or both.
Well, this is what I think happens. When I worked for the school board, I also worked for the government. We were always told to go over budget. And in fact, I would get reprimanded if I didn't sometimes. And they always told me it was so they could get a bigger budget the next year. But I think that the difference was pocketed by superintendent or somebody. Because he was the one.
I'll tell you. Pardon?
He was the one demanding it from all of us.
Well, if we had up a copy of the Constitution of the United States, February 21st, 1871, the last paragraph talks about how they roll in the leftover funds at the end of the year. They roll it back in. And they keep doing it.
Yeah.
And there's hidden investments that the people don't know about. So back to Bree's question. If you have a driver's license, get it out and look at it and put it on your desk right now. Above your appellation, where you write in cursive, first, middle, last, upper and lowercase letters, get a white piece of paper and write "all rights reserved" in blue ink and all lowercase letters, and tape that with clear, transparent tape to the front of your driver's license. That's a start of getting rid of the adhesion contracts associated with that use of identification. So if you have a driver's license, you are a resident. If you are a resident, you're a person and an individual. If you have a driver's license, you're in commerce. If you have a driver's license, you're within the United States, you're a United States citizen, which is a territory or possession of the United States. When you look at your driver's license, it says 2 capital letters. That is a territory or possession of the United States. That is domestic. That means within the United States. Because of the all capital letter, 2 all capital letter state abbreviation, and the use of the zip code. The use of the zip code went full blown in 1971 with the USPS. So they used that to entrap the people as U.S. citizens and residents. And the people don't know it because they're never taught it. And you're also taught that's how you do it when you're in school. The purpose of public education is indoctrination. The purpose of public education is to take the common sense out of people. The purpose of public education is to turn your children into socialists and communists. So the driver's license, the IRS taxes, that's easy. If you go to sovereignliving.org, 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 and go to, I think it's forms or founding documents, he shows you how to fill out we don't need to go to it now. He shows you how to do a W-8 Ben. That's something we may do sometime. He shows you how to fill out a W-8 Ben and say you're from the United States of America, which is under the Articles of Confederation, and there's a treaty, which is Article 6, Paragraph 1, which says there are no taxes. It's the Articles of Confederation. That's also what allows you to be a United States of America national. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, Article 6, Paragraph 1 is your jurisdiction and law for the record.
What were those two references again?
Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. That says Congress can only make laws exclusively in the United States and possessions, territories, forts, naval bases, dockyards. So that's the system's jurisdiction. You're without it. And then Article 6, Paragraph 1, that's the law for the record that says, when you read that in the Constitution, it says that the Articles of Confederation stand over the Constitution for the United States of America. And the Articles of Confederation are a treaty, and a treaty is perpetual, and a treaty is the supreme law of the land. So Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 in the Constitution is huge. That says the United States, it puts them in their place. And when you know what their jurisdiction is, you know how you can live without their jurisdiction. And your law for the record is Article 6, Paragraph 1 of the Constitution.
Got it. Thank you.
Which references the Articles of Confederation, and Article 2, which says each state has all sovereignty, authority, power, freedom, right, jurisdiction. Is very, very, very powerful. So your state, the word state comes from e-state. So each of you folks are a state, because the word state is derived from e-state. And when you're the general executor of your state, you own the whole estate. You own the possession, the use, the time, and the interest. And the system has no residual interest. So with a certificate of live birth, you can do an act of state, or you can get a copy of the certificate of live birth at the Office of Vital Statistics in your state. You can go to the Office of the Great Seal and have that authenticated. Say you're going to go to a non-Hague country, that's $1, and they authenticate that and attach that with a gold seal in Michigan. And then you can have that sent to the Department of State, which in every other country is the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, and have that authenticated. And they put a brass ring binding all three documents. And on the top of that document, it has a 9-digit identification number, which is the same number of digits as a Social Security number. So you can use that number as an exemption identification number. You can use that number at the top of your Act of State, which you need to read Act of State in Black's Law first. You can use that number as an exemption identification number to not pay sales taxes.
Wow.
And not pay income taxes.
Very cool.
We'll do
So you need an 1891 Black's Law Dictionary, and you need to look up Act of State. I yield. What, Antoinette?
I said, I think we'll do a teaching on that.
Okay.
So if there's
So
no,
does that begin to answer? Go ahead.
yeah, if there's no more questions,
Well, Brisa, does that answer your questions?
Yeah, that gives me an idea of practically what I can start looking into. So that does help. Thank you.
Yes.
I had one more question just for clarification.
Go ahead, Kalina.
So all rights reserved in blue ink, you suggested to put above the
Appellation.
the autograph, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right there is a bunch of letters and numbers on my Hawaii ID. Like, I don't know what it is, number 5. But go ahead.
Well, do you know how? Is there some way we can take a picture of that with stuff crossed out so we can see what that looks like without giving away your private identification?
Yeah.
So if you can block out all your private identification stuff,
Yeah.
like your last name and, you know, whatever's private to you, your driver's license number.
Right.
And we can look at what you're looking at. So what you're saying is tight right above your endorsement. They have numbers, so there's no room. Is that what you're telling me?
There's no room. So on the Hawaii ID, the new one they've come out with, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. They have 15 numbers here. Okay. Number 1, 2, and 8 are under the picture. Then they have 4, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Number 4 is the Hawaii driver's license. The 4B is the expiration. Number 3 is date of birth. And then number 5, right above the appellation, is a bunch of numbers. 2022, 1019, 101 404, blah, 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 blah. I have no idea what that is.
So what they've done is they've stripped the ability of you to, the people to put all rights reserved right above their appellation.
Yeah, I can't put anything there. It would go over my my appellation. But I'd have to cross out that number, whatever that is. Yeah,
Is there a current sample here on the screen?
There in the middle, Antoinette. See how under her? Let's see. She's got long hair. I can't see her name. Middle of your screen.
Right there.
Yeah, that lady. See that number 5?
Yeah, you've got plenty of room there to put all rights reserved above Tina's sample.
Okay, and hers you do, and mine you don't, unless I went to like where it's barely legible. She's got more room on hers, but.
So the thing that I heard was an alternative is I autographed. It's a tiny space they have you autograph, so I wrote as small as I could.
Okay.
But right after I did a comma and then agent, which I've heard is similar to all rights reserved.
Smart.
Comma agent next to your appellation.
Right after my autograph.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, that works.
Yep.
Thank you both.
Smart. And there's a thing on teaching on agent and agency, and very interesting. See, the whole scripture it talks about God is no respecter of persons. Well, what is the system? What does Satan do? He wants to turn us into persons. Because fiction can only deal with fiction. So the system can only interface with another fiction. They can't interface with a live man or woman. So to take advantage of a live man or woman, they create a fiction. And if we don't know that that's a fiction, that all capital letter name person, then we think that fiction's us and it's not. And that's how the system works against us to take advantage of us because we're ignorant. And what we're talking about are British Accreditation Registry agent attorneys. They're Satanists. So I know all kinds of people that know judges and know attorneys, and they go to church and they're in the Bible study and they're wonderful people. I'd say, why do they do what they do? Why are they using Admiralty Maritime Law, law of the sea, assumption and presumption against the American people? Why are they part of a communist organization called the British Accreditation Registry? Why is the Rotary Club, which was founded in the early 1900s, full of attorneys? Because it's a new world order, one world government agenda. Oh, the Rotary Club, look at all the wonderful things they do. Go back and look at who's involved. A whole bunch of attorneys from all over the world. We're all one. Kumbaya. We're all going to get along together great. Folks, I have news for you. The creator of the universe, there's nations. And nations have borders. And the people groups live in those nations. Well, that's the antithesis to the New World Order, One World Government agenda. The people standing against the New World Order, One World Government agenda are the people that are the Creator's people that follow after his ways in the book of Acts called followers of the way. They are the antithesis to the New World Order, One World Government agenda. That's how it is.
Andrew, I appreciate your humor, the kumbaya. You got a good giggle out of me. Thanks.
Thank you.
So on the references, you go to the website and it's free resources. This is where it proves what Andrew was saying earlier, that the magistrates are their trustees. That's us.
Let's go to, can you zoom in on number 2 there, Antoinette? That's the Virginia Declaration of Rights, number 1, drafted by George Mason, June 12, 1776, that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people, that magistrates are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them. Let me read that again, folks. That all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people. What's that mean, folks? All power comes from the people. That magistrates are the people's trustees and servants. That means, folks, we the people are the beneficiaries. And the trustees are at all times amenable, meaning friendly, to the people. The magistrate is a trustee and a servant and a minister of God unto the people's wealth. There it is, folks. And tonight, there's going to be a teaching with that the California General Jural Assembly is going to put on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to talk about the Virginia Declaration of Rights. So I highly recommend you go to that. And if Antoinette or Mary has that, and can write that information down for the phone number and the password and the free conference call number app to get in, people can watch that and go to that or listen on their phone tonight, and that'll be a good presentation.
Can you just tell us what is the significance of the Virginia Declaration of Rights?
It's in your face, so a third grader can comprehend that.
Right.
1776. 1776.
Right.
So we're talking, that's one of the first Declaration of Rights, and it's crystal clear. We're going to go over it tonight at 8 o'clock. It makes it crystal clear who's in charge, and it's the people. It makes it crystal clear that the public officials work for the people and are bound and chained by the Constitution. Now, back in 1606, there was the Virginia Company, and that was started by the King of England for money and profit. So when they came to Virginia, Virginia was all about top-down control. So that's where things started in 1606. Now you have here in 1776, 170 years later, a total switcho-change-o, where the people, where there was a great revival, and the people woke up from the pulpits in their hearts, from God's word, to the fact that the people were in charge. No other king but King Yeshua HaMashiach. In America, everything was turned on its head. Over in Europe, the king was in charge. In America, the people were in charge. The Supreme Court has said repeatedly, in Europe, the king was the king. In America, the people are the sovereign. The people are the sovereign authority. The people are the sovereign authority. The people are the sovereign authority. The people are in charge. under the Creator. This isn't taught in schools. This isn't taught in church, because the churches are under Caesar's grip. They're a Title 26 United States Code 501c3. You can go look it up. That can't talk about political issues. So the church has been neutered. We're called to be salt and light in a crooked and depraved generation. And if the salt loses its saltiness, it's good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. Some churches aren't 501c3s, and they can speak true. Go ahead, Brisa. I yield.
Thank you. So seems like there's a lot of people on this call from different states. I currently reside in California. How would the Virginia Declaration of Rights benefit me being in California?
How would the Virginia Declaration of Rights benefit anybody? Well, everything's about education. Everything changes in the mind, for good or for bad. So when you read that Virginia Declaration of Rights, and you go back in time to 1776, and you read the scriptures, you realize, and you get built up in your faith, you get built up in your knowledge. When you get built up in your faith, you get built up in your knowledge, you get built up in your courage, you can go from being ignorant to being knowledgeable. You can go from being an infant or a child to an adult. You can go from knowing to acting and doing. So that when you pray the Lord's Prayer, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven, you can be like that centurion in Matthew 6, who said to Christ, Christ, I have a man that's sick. He needs help. Christ said, well, I'll go there and see him. The centurion said to Christ, he said, you're a man under authority. I'm a man under authority. I tell this man go and he goes. I tell this man come and he comes. He said, just say the word and my servant shall be healed. Mm-hmm. Christ looked at the centurion and he said, I've not seen such faith in all of Israel. And at that very hour, at that time, his servant was healed. Because when he went home, he asked, what transpired? What time of day was this man healed? And at that very time, that man was healed. So it's all about the learning curve. So you can go from ignorance to salt and light to walking in truth with boldness and courage and knowing who you are and what your identity is so that you can live and walk in it.
Yes, I agree. I guess I should specify in saying that I'm, as you know, I'm in a court battle right now. Mm-hmm. And if I were to present the Virginia Declaration of Rights,
they'd laugh at you. That's got nothing to do with what you're doing.
My rights, because I did appoint the commissioner, the trustee of my estate, and he said he was not accepting any trusteeships at the moment. So, you know, that's what it's not that I lacked faith that this document has authority. It's how I can use it to assert my rights.
You can't. You can't. It has no jurisdiction to help you when it comes to law and jurisdiction. Knowing what's there builds your knowledge of your foundation of freedom. So when you comprehend the founding documents and you comprehend what the words mean and you comprehend the law of grammar and you study and you know those documents and you connect those documents and you know whose you are and you know the who, what, when, where, why, and how of how those things interconnect, and you know what their jurisdiction is, and you know what your jurisdiction is, above all else, we're called to what? Stand.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
To be able to stand in the day of evil.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to be a resident of our state. Now you can say you're a Californian.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I could say I'm a Michiganian, but I like to bypass all that state stuff. There's a state citizen and there's a U.S. citizen. I like to bypass all that. And I like to go straight to I, comma, all lowercase letters, Joe-Schmo, colon, of the House of Blow, comma, am a United States of America national, all lowercase but the A, period. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, colon. Article 6, Paragraph 1, period. Jurisdiction and law, capital L, for the record, period. I am not a United States citizen.
Mm.
That cuts through everything. That cuts through everything. That cuts through everything. They know what that means. You have to know what that means. When you know what that means, and they know what that means, then you can stand.
Mm.
You're being messed with. They don't want to do what you want them to do because it's going to set precedent. So it takes time. So, to some extent, you have to be patient and see how what you've done is going to play out. They're not just going to jump. And they see you as, a young woman and petite and all that stuff. And they're going to play with you as long as they can.
Yeah.
So the better you are at being adept at standing and knowing who you are and whose you are and what to say and how to say it, that'll determine, outcome to some extent, because it's all a poker game with them. They're reading you.
Right.
And they're Satanists.
Yep.
So did I answer your question?
Yeah.
I just had one more. It's Kalina. Everyone who's on here, if you're interested in the call that Andrew's talking about, the link is in the chat for this afternoon educational talk with Charlene of California. Look in the chat and the link's in there. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kalina. And there's a free conference call app, and then you can see the screen. If you don't want to do the app and see the screen, which I recommend you do because Charlene does wonderful presentations, and she's got a great radio voice, you can just call in and listen on the phone. And if you dial *67 before you call in, if you dial *67, your number will be held anonymous. And then she'll ask you if you're new to come in and say, name and state. For instance, Andrew, Michigan. And then she may ask you, to give a brief review of how you found the educational call. If you want to tell a little bit about yourself, you can. She may ask if you're involved in an assembly in your state. If not, if you're interested, and so on and so forth. Good group of people. Any other questions? Can we look at that second page of that application to vote form, Antoinette?
I think
quickly, and then probably.
We've reached the top of the hour.
Okay.
We're a little bit past. So next Monday, you can talk about what you want to teach. Next Monday, tonight, or tomorrow, we're going to be doing the truth about money. So that's a 7K presentation. And if you want to talk about what you want to do next week, I think you got to let
Thank you.
Mary go.
Thank you, Antoinette. We will go over the back of that vote form about affidavit, and we will get into filling out another form, either a FOIA request or a private bank, setting up a private bank account form, or we'll go over the affidavit of identity form for a public official. When you're doing a FOIA to get an oath of office and a bond, you'll also want to go after the affidavit of identity. Because if they fill out the affidavit of identity wrong to do their oath of office, you can get them for that too. So we will continue on this trend. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night for the truth about money. Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome. Thank you, folks.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. This is TKC.network, again, bringing you live presentations from some of the best educators in the entire country about truth, how the whole world has been deceived by grammar, by changing of words, by the legal fraudulent system that has nothing to do with you. They came to steal, kill, and destroy. That's your bar attorneys, folks. And who do they work for? All the fraudsters at the top. They like it this way. They like ignorant serfs. If you're sick of being stupid, really, and dumbed down that you can't manipulate or work your way through this world, you can't figure it out because you've been so indoctrinated into the lies, but you know something's wrong. Go over here, subscribe to tkc.network. Make sure you subscribe. That's how you're going to learn about the shows. If you would, please kindly download WebEx and WebEx meetings. That's how these shows are working. And if you can't afford it, we know a lot of people are suffering, but we're building out every day. We've done this for 7 months for free, just of our own volition, because we love you guys. We love God. But we're coming up with a lot of expenses, and we really could use the community to pitch in and help. So if you can make a love offering, there is a love offering box on the front. Whether you can afford $5, $10, $20, $25 a month or each show or whatever you can afford, it sure will help us continue being able to bring you these great teachings that can set you free. We're also available for prayer. We're also available for private consultation. If you would like to call me, I'm one of the visionaries, along with Antoinette, for this entire ministry. And my phone number is 808-476-0332. Be sure to come tomorrow to more about money. You guys will be blown away. It's as devastating as hearing about how your legal rights or your lawful rights got turned into legal fraud with no rights. And then Wednesday's the etymology of the God's word. It's how they changed all the words in the Bible. So, we'd be confused and stuck in this mystery Babylon deal. And then Thursday, we teach what we are. We're a 508c1a free independent church or ecclesia. We are not under the U.S. government. We are free. If you want to learn how to set up your ministry, we'd be happy to coach you and help you. And then Fridays is Light and Salt, the Light and Salt ministry. It's all about healing and detoxing your body. So we look forward to seeing you soon. We love you. A hui ho, and make it a beautiful day. And don't forget to join and subscribe to TKC Network. It's tkc.network. It stands for Thy Kingdom Come, Freedom Education, where every day we're seeking truth as hidden treasure. We love you. Jesus, Yeshua, and Father Yah love you more than anything. So give your life back to the true and repent, and He will do the rest. As you grow, more and more people will come out of bondage as they see how they were tricked and deceived by the silly system. Okay, we love you. God bless you. Yeshua loves you more, and Yah loves you more. Have a beautiful day.